Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will learn how to design 3D glossy button using Tailwind CSS. So let's start. I've already created the button component file, and now we will start implementing the button. Just export the component, theme name, like the file name, and we just return for now. We did, and now first we will import this component on the page, and then we will start implementing the glossy button. Let's go here and say import. Okay, so we already imported here. Okay, and our component is coming through, so we can start adding the button tag now. So for that, first we will just remove the p tag, and then we will add the container div and then the button tag, and we will just add the text to it and also the type button. And now first we will check it on the page, so it's updating the button tag. Now the next step is to add Tailwind CSS classes. So we will use step-by-step guide here, and for that the first step is to add width, height, background, and border, a basic classes to have a basic button. So for that I would just use class name, and then I am using width 150 pixel. So this is Tailwind CSS Just-in-Time mode, where you can create custom classes. So sometimes you have very specific requirement for width and height, a background. At that time you should use Just-in-Time, very specific CSS to your component. Now the next step is to add the height 38. That's the default Tailwind CSS class. Now for background, I am using Tailwind CSS Just-in-Time mode and create custom class, and I'm using yellow shade, a little bit darker, but you can change it. Like you can come here and change whatever you like. You can create this like the blue color, red, any color, but I would just use the yellow shade, a little bit darker. Now the next step is use border, border 2. I'm not adding any border color because I'm using default white one. And the next is use the rounded border, but here we are using rounded full. Okay, so these are the basic classes where you can have basic button. So first let's review. So you have a basic button ready. The next step is to add a little bit padding, shadow, and also the animation. So now we are on step 2. So we could use, I'm using padding 2. I'm also using shadow extra large, so I'm using 2XL, and then we are using drop shadow. I'm using medium for that, and for animation I am using transition. All these are all Tailwind CSS default classes where you don't have to create custom classes unless you have a specific requirement. So I'm just using transition all and duration 150. I think that's enough. Let's first look at how it looks. Okay, so now we have a basic button with shadow. The next step is to add gradient. We are using linear gradient, and for linear gradient we are using Tailwind CSS Just-in-Time mode. It allows you to have very specific shadow of the color, angle, So whatever you want to implement in your button. So that's a great feature. So to add linear gradient custom class, first we need to have the CSS. So you can search online gradient button and you can find the CSS3, and all you need to do is to convert that CSS3 to Tailwind CSS custom class using just-in-time mode. So I found this online, this gradient, and all I did is convert it into the hex code and the custom classes. So here is 50%. We just need to put the different format. That's it. And so basically everything is similar. It's just the hex code and the different format for custom class. And all you do here is to just copy this and put into the inline class here. So that is one thing. Now press check. Okay, so you can see the gradient is working. We still need to do the different steps, like we have to add the before attribute. We also need to add the opacity. We are going to add that in our next step. So our next step is to add the before attribute. So you can see here, first step we add the basic classes. Step 2 we add shadow and animation. Third we added gradient, and now first we add the before attribute, and the last is opacity. So let's move to the next step. Add before block, before content, that is the empty content. We will add absolute position because we want to display the capsule, and for that we need to add the absolute position. And for now we are using Tailwind CSS just-in-time mode to have a specific position. So I'm adding left 10 pixel, and same for right 10 pixel, and then we can add top 5 pixel because we didn't add like height same as width, so we will use 5 pixel here. And now we will add height. We should look, and then we can easily change it. We are also adding animation transform and scale, I think 105, maybe 150. For now I will just use the 105. And then we need to add rounded border, so I'm just using rounded XL. Okay, so now last part is to add linear gradient to the before attribute. For that we need to find the CSS3, and we'll just convert into the custom class. So here is the CSS3, very similar to we had before, and we just converted into the hex code. Here we don't have any angle or anything, so we'll just use the simple gradient here. So I'll just copy this and add into the inline class here. And first we will test this out, and then we can make changes. We also need to add opacity as step 5, but first let's check. Okay, we can see that, but it's very tiny, so we need to add height, like a little bit increase the height, and just go ahead and add. We have 5 pixel. I'm directly going to this with the 20 pixel, and here I'm going to see how it looks, and then we could easily change it. For now I'm just putting top 5 pixel, and we will see all coming through. Now we will go ahead and add opacity, and I just say before opacity I'm going to have a little bit higher, 90. It will just convert into the CSS3. All right, the next step is to just copy over, like clone this button and remove the angle, and it will create the different design, like a second design of glossy button, which is also very widely used into the apps and websites. So let's try that. I'm just going to copy this one and have here, and then all I would do is I would just remove the angle from the gradient, and that will create the second design of a capsule button. We might need to adjust a little bit margin for the capsule, but other than that it's just similar button. So let's check that. It's coming through. Have, instead of 20 pixel, we could just have 15 pixel. That way, check. And this looking on the design 3, where we will use gradient border instead of gradient button. So that design you can see on many apps, Apple website, where they are using a gradient border. So we'll start working on that. For that, we need to create another button. So I'm going to add the button, and first we will start adding the basic classes here. With I'm keeping 150 pixel. For height I'm keeping 12. Now for rounded I'm still keeping rounded full here, and we will add gradient here. So for that one we will use Tailwind CSS default classes. So in Tailwind CSS you can just define and just have like from left to right, bottom left, bottom right, whatever works best for your requirement. But here we are just using to right, so it will change from left to right. And now we need to provide the colors we want to use. So we are going to use the blue shade. And so I'm going to say from, because it should be from, then it should via, where we are using blue shade, a little bit darker, and then 2, where we are using purple. So everything, all shades are like blue shades from very light to dark. You need to provide the padding as well. So I'm adding padding. Now here we need to add the div and add data, because we are creating the gradient border and not the background. And for here we just use, first of all we have to use width full, height full, and then bg black, and then opacity 90. You can use 95 as well. I'm just keeping it to the 90. And we also need to provide the padding. We also have to add the white text, but for now we'll just test this out, and then we will change the color. So it's coming through. We need to also add rounded border for our inner div as well, so we'll add that, and we also add the text color here. So I would just say rounded full, and I said text white, and font bold, and text center. Okay, so now check this out. All right, so this is the one where you can easily create the gradient border and background black or any other background. You can use the icons to have like a plus sign for add data and play icon for play video or something like that. So this is the most useful and popular gradient design for button, 3D button. So for this design is to add hover state. um, so when user hover here, it should have the animation. So I'm going to add that. Also, you can just put the cursor pointer so that this is the clickable button. And for hover state, we just use the hover scale 105. Also, you can add hover shadow to Excel or Excel. And let's check this out. All right. So you see, so easily this is the interaction. It's a very similar hover state for all these three buttons, but you can have different animation as well to try different shades. So I'm going to change shades for this button, and we can try that one. Also shades, and this is how you can easily create 3D glossy button using Tailwind CSS. Is very easy and step-by-step guide. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please click like button, subscribe to my channel.